Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Anton, and this is CZYK and the brand new single Paralyzed. And for anyone that doesn't know, this is an upcoming band. This is my friend Kyle's band, and he's an awesome guy and a great reactor. So if you want to check out him, I'll link that in the description down below. And that's it. So let's get to CZYK Paralyzed. This kind of has a bit of like, almost like a bit of like Architects feeling, a bit that progressive style. You guys got a new drummer?
The pressure's sinking in. Can't take control of it. I think I lost my mind.
Very good ambience. I can feel the pain, man. The chaos. That was a heavy one. Yo, that reminds me of Imminence Paralyzed, doesn't it? Kyle, do you know Imminence? Yeah, so similar. I like that song though. Definitely, you guys are improving on your mixing and dynamics, adding layers. Good stuff so far. I'm proud of you, man. Yeah, the mixing on this song is way better than your older stuff. There's actually some low-ended punch to it. Yeah, adding more pitching to your screaming is good. You can feel the chaos, man. Really good tone on the leads there. That reminds me of a Slipknot there. Alright, so that was CZYK Paralyzed. Definitely, man, Kyle, this is a massive, in my opinion, improvement from your earlier stuff. What's cool about this is I can actually, like, even though, to be completely honest, this isn't really my style of music very much, like, I've never really been a huge fan of the more, like, progressive modern metalcore. I'm definitely more of, like, a 2000s melodic metalcore, In Flames, Parkway Drive, As I Die, and Killstream Engage, that kind of thing. But what I do know is I've heard a lot of this kind of stuff, and I think that you guys are getting closer and closer and closer in your ability to mimic the bands that you're trying to be like, like the Architects or the Wage Wars or the, your influences that are clearly, I'm very much guessing like Wage Wars, one of them. I could be wrong. But I think this is like the first song where I'm like, oh, you know what? They're getting really close to like that sound in terms of the mixing, the guitar riffs. I think in terms of this one, the guitar riffs are much, much more distinct and recognizable, even though one criticism I have with this entire genre of more modern metalcore is that so much of it is kind of like what I said about the Architect song last time, where a lot of it is about texture and about ambience and about getting a feeling, which is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. But I definitely prefer the more melodic guitar styles of, more classic metalcore. Especially because I'm, anyone that follows the channel, what I'm drawn to in music is melody, either in the chorus, the vocals, the guitars. I want something to sing. I always want something singing. Again, why I like Parkway Drive so much, why I like Killswitch Engage so much, is those lead guitar lines are always, if they're screaming, there's a lot of melody a lot of the time going on with the guitars. Very melodic, very emotional. And one thing is, this is definitely very emotional, very chaotic in a very different way. And I think what this does really well, that you do very well in this one, Kyle, is your ability to create, again, a sense of chaos and unease and translate your emotional state to the listener and the viewer. I think you did a very good job of that. I could feel the chaos going on. I could feel the questions. I could feel the inability to sit with yourself and your demons and a lot of the kind of mental health struggles you're having that I had no clue with, because, let's face it, we usually are not honest about what we're going through, even with our friends, like to this level, This is what's cool about, having friends who are musicians, is that you get to see the side of your friends that they're unwilling to share, or not unwilling, but they have a hard time sharing with you and people in general. Especially as I become friends with more and more musicians in my life. Like, I'll sometimes text my friends who are musicians, like David of Dear Mother, and be like, hey man, shit, I heard that new song. Like, are you okay? Like, what are you going through right now? Because, yeah, like, when do you open up to somebody and just go, yeah, dude, I feel like I'm fucking falling apart. Like, I kind of hate myself right now, as Kyle kind of alluded to in this song, right? So I'll check in with Kyle after this is done and see how he's doing. But yeah, man, I appreciate the honesty. And that's one thing I love about rock and metal, is that you get honesty. You get the darkest demons that people have to offer. And especially if you deal with these kind of things, like I deal with something similar. I don't think the voice that criticizes me is this heavy. The voice that criticizes, like it's sometimes even hard to understand, because like you kind of block it. I think you repress your own inner critic because it's so painful. I think where I usually get to is I just think I fucked up a lot. Like, let's say like I overshare or I overstep a boundary, and then like, even happened yesterday. I'll feel like I'm not good enough. That's my critic. I don't feel like I'm fucked up. I feel like I'm not good enough to be around the people and to do the things I want to do in my life, because I'm incredibly ambitious, because I have, goals to make like $100 million a year later down the road and create my own studio and all of these things, because I have massive ambitions, because I'm interviewing incredibly powerful and influential people in the world, and like just people that have done a lot of fucking work on themselves. I can sometimes just feel completely inadequate when I'm around these people. Like, wow, why the fuck am I talking to you right now? Like, you have created these things in the world, and I have yet to do that. So sometimes I think where my critic comes out is I will feel like I am unworthy That's it. That's my deepest one. I'll feel like I'm unworthy of being around the people that I am drawn to. I'm drawn to these people because they inspire me. And by the very nature, they inspire me because they've achieved something that I've yet to achieve. And so when I'm in their presence, I feel like one of my fears is that I have a huge hero of mine who I'll probably be meeting in the next year or two, the way my life is going with the podcast and the kind of people I'm meeting. I'll probably meet one of my idols and my heroes this year. And what I'm afraid is that he's going to just see all of my bullshit immediately and give up on me and be like, yeah, you're too fucking broken to hang out with our circles. Because he's like a multimillionaire. Like, everybody in the podcast circuit knows this guy. He's a legend in the podcasting circuit. And yeah, my fear is like, I won't be enough to belong with these groups and crowds of people. And that's very confronting to me. Because I don't feel like I'm enough yet. And I want to be enough right now. I want to be worthy of being around these people right now, but I don't know what I have to offer. Because these people have so much to offer me. They have so much to offer my platform. They have so much to offer me emotionally, intellectually. They're all coaches and they're Jungian, analysts and stuff. Like they're all super into Carl Jung and stuff. And so because of that, it's like when I'm around them, I feel like, and I don't know, maybe some of you feel that way with me because I can pick up on bullshit very easily. And some of you might feel like I can pick up on your bullshit. Well, I feel the same way with other people. When I'm around these people, I'm like, fuck, I can't hide. Like, no matter what way I am, they're going to see through my bullshit. They're going to see through my facade. They're going to notice exactly when I'm arrogant, when I'm overselling myself, when I'm like speaking too much, all this kind of stuff. Like, I'm always like, oh man. And what I do know is my chief insecurity about all of this is I'm projecting my father onto them, which I noticed I did with the podcast yesterday because he exhibited some of the traits that my father has. But he's a good man. He's a good father. He's a good husband. But because he's very direct and blunt and extremely confident, I went, oh yeah, my dad was like that. My dad was also abusive and all these things. He was volatile, angry, abusive, manipulative. So I projected, if you have some of the traits of my father, I subconsciously go, I don't feel safe around you. Because I don't feel safe around my dad. So I was like, project all of that onto them. And we actually talked after the podcast. He was kind enough to be like, hey man, how are you doing? Like, how was that for you? Let's talk about it. And so we talked for like an hour after, but it was just really nice to be so confronted by somebody and them remind you of your father who was abusive and them have the emotional integrity to not judge you. And like, he just like listened to me and he just like was super open with me. And he's like, hey, I get it. I know I can be very direct. I can be very blunt. I can see why that would confront you. And he's like, I have to watch that with my kids too, because I can sometimes be very direct. I can be very masculine with my kids and I have to watch that. So it was a very beautiful thing of like building trust in myself with people that I normally wouldn't be around because it's very confronting for me. Extremely masculine people are very confronting for me. Because again, I'd quarantine that side of myself away because it reminded me of my dad. And I went, okay, anyone that has these traits is a bad person. I don't like my dad. He made me feel unsafe, unvalued, all this stuff, right? So it's interesting. And all of this is driving at is that, a lot of the time we don't realize what people are going through and the struggles people are going through until we listen to their art, which my art is my podcast. Some of these videos too, when I get deep in the music reactions. But it's like, it is really nice when you get just pure honesty and the darkest part of people, because then it helps you go, oh yeah, I have that too. It helps me accept those flaws or those demons in me. So overall in this one, I felt like this was a really good song for CZYK. I see a massive progression from your earlier material to this. As I mentioned, this generally speaking is not really my kind of music all the way. Just the progressive metalcore, modern metalcore riffing style isn't really my thing. And also when it comes to screaming, you're developing your style very well, Kyle. I think you're actually, the ability you have to channel that chaos and that depth is very good. At the same time, it's usually not really my favorite screaming style. It's even hard to explain what kind of screaming style I like. I think more vulnerable screaming style. This is honest. This is chaotic. This is pained. But I think with me, I like a more almost like tortured. But actually, this actually could literally just be the guitar work. Because what's hard is that a lot of the time, if you don't like the instrumental of the song and you're like neutral, or maybe even you like the vocals, the instrumental will change the vibe of the song, and you'll maybe think you don't like the vocals as much as you actually do. Like, for example, if I copy and pasted this vocal over top of like Parkway Drive 5 Months or Carrion, I'd be very curious to see, do the vocals pop more? Because I like the guitar work and I like the emotional texturing of that music so much. So that's interesting. So this one is definitely, the instrumental style is not my biggest thing. And because of that, it might be lessening my enthusiasm to the vocal style. But I think this is very well done for what you're trying to do. So definitely bravo, Kyle, and keep up the awesome work.